My name is Amber Geis, and as long as I can remember, I've been passionate about people. I was in a very dark season in which I lost myself. And I'm here to say, despite what others may say or do or our circumstances, we have the power to overcome and find ourselves again. We all have a story. Let's unveil the mask. Hi everybody, this is Amber Geis with Unveiling the Mask. Thanks so much for tuning in this Sunday beautiful evening. I cannot believe we're already season 2 with our episodes, and tonight I have someone that I literally met one time, which I absolutely love. I was at a networking event a few weeks ago, and lo and behold, I started talking to Missy, who is here with us, and I was like, hey, I'm doing this show. Do you want to be interviewed? And she was like, sure. And I was like, awesome. So I'm really excited to hear her story because I'm going to be really hearing it with you guys. And I think that's the beautiful thing about this show and just about meeting people. I think it's so exciting just to really like smile to someone, talk to someone, and really get to know people because you never know who is around the corner. So tonight I want to introduce Missy. Hi. And you can just tell us your story.
Okay, well, I mean, I have a lot of stories, but I guess the one that I'll tell today is just that I previously, in my 20s, I went to school to become a medical technologist, and so that's what I thought I would do. And then later, I don't know if I'm supposed to look at you or...
Okay,
look at you.
Yeah.
So what happened was I worked for a while, and then we decided to have kids, and once we started having kids, we decided one of us should stay home.
Yeah.
It was me, of course. Often it's the mom.
Yeah.
And I never went back. I mean, so after quitting working in the lab and having a couple of kids, we realized that I wasn't going to go back and that we were going to homeschool. And it wasn't even my idea to homeschool.
It wasn't your idea?
No, it wasn't in my vision. My vision, this is so crazy, because my vision was actually that I was going to put the kids in daycare and go back to work. Bob, my husband, was not raised that way. His mother stayed home. And mine was home for a while too. But, so my whole world changed when I discovered homeschooling, thanks to my mother-in-law, and I'm like, wow, that's a really good option for educating your kids. And you know, I didn't have to go back to work, so it was nice to be able to do that.
Okay, let me stop you right there.
Yeah.
I'm like thinking of questions. So that's like mine's the opposite. I thought I was gonna stay home I was dreaming of being the stay-at-home mom, and I was gonna raise my kids and fly off into the sunset, I don't know, and mine's completely opposite. Like I went towards the career. So, but I wanna ask you this, like when you left your job, and a lot of our identity is wrapped up in our work, our careers, right? Did you feel the pressure of sides? I remember raising my kids. You have the stay-at-home moms, and then you have the working moms. Like how was the beginning days of you deciding like I'm going to stay home and not go back to work? Like how did you feel about that?
At first it was fine. It was totally fine. What happens is when the kids turn around too, and everyone starts putting their kids in preschool and going back to work, that's where it gets a little bit weird. I mean, fortunately, I didn't feel too judged, except maybe by a few people.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I just had other friends that were doing similar thing, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. But I know some people really suffer that way, and it's unfortunate. I mean, because to me, we should all have that choice. I don't care if you stay home or if you work. I mean, can you afford to feed your family? Awesome.
No, absolutely. I think that everybody should have a choice. Like guys, girls, like some dads stay at home and they're like the best, and then the women are working. I think we all should have a choice.
It's whatever works for your family.
I just think sometimes, I just kind of ignored it, but I always think there's this quiet sides, you know, and maybe it's going away, I don't know, so hopefully.
I feel like with my generation, it was more common for the moms to stay home.
Yeah.
It just seemed like, you know, from the 80s where all the moms were working, it swung the other direction a little bit.
My mom stayed at home with us for a long time, so that's what I was used to.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you homeschooled, so that's different too, and that was not your idea.
That was my mother-in-law's idea,
Okay.
and usually what happens is somebody says something and I go, no,
Yeah.
no, I'm not going to do that. And then I'm like, okay, well, I have to look into it at least and, do my due diligence on that.
Yes.
So I did some research and I realized that, homeschool kids, they turn out normal and they're well educated and I could do it. I mean, why not? I had an education.
Yeah.
And I'm resourceful, so why not just go for it? So I did.
Yeah, that is awesome. So did you get, my sister-in-law's homeschooled their kids, and so they would just get into there's also groups you can get involved with, and I don't know what they're called.
Co-ops.
I was going to say co-ops, but I was like, ooh, I don't know if that's the right word.
Yeah, I just made my own co-op.
Yeah, well, there you go. That's awesome.
Yeah, I did a lot of that sort of stuff with just friends that we had. I mean, starting from the time that my son, when people were putting their kids in preschool, I was starting with my friend a preschool co-op. So it was the two of us with our 4 kids, total of 4, and then we'd invite people, and that just evolved from one thing into the next, history, science as they got older.
Yeah.
So it was very cool.
Yeah, so your life for the last how many years?
19.
Okay.
Well, okay, so my oldest is 19. And so that's where I start. I mean, that's not when I started homeschooling, but that's when I started staying home. Yeah.
So your life, the last 19 years, was stay-at-home mom, teacher, homeschool, mom. What does your life look like now?
Well, I have a lot more free time. And so when my son went off to college, so that he's in the middle of his sophomore year right now. And he's in Texas. And so dropping him off and all of that was a real huge transition for me.
Yeah.
And actually, once the kids get into high school, there's a lot less for the homeschool mom to do because I've trained them to educate themselves. That was the whole goal. So I had more free time. And so as he went off to college, and my youngest one was like, I don't need your help, I had to get a little bit creative. And what I actually did was I started my own small business, like a lot of people do.
Yeah.
I had never done that before. I had no idea what I was doing, and it ended up being so much fun and, life-changing. When you get into a business, you start learning things about yourself.
Yeah.
And so that journey has been super fun. It's been a year now since I did that. And so what I've learned is, seems odd, a lot of social media stuff.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm to the point where I can teach people, and I'm starting to think about doing those sorts of things for other women. So I like that what I'm doing is getting involved in business, getting involved with other women, and empowering them to do things that they didn't think that they would be able to do.
Yeah.
And it's so much it's so funny because I worked in the lab and I was training people in the lab. I homeschooled. I trained my children. I educated my children. I have a little business. Now I'm training these women.
You're a natural teacher.
I am. I'm just an educator by nature, and I enjoy it. I think I might be good at it.
Yeah, that's awesome. So you're pretty much on your second chapter of life here. I think, that's true. I think when our kids, I have one that graduated this past year too. He's not quite in college yet, but it's it's weird. It's just a different stage. They're becoming almost like friends a little bit. You're still the parent, but it's just everything.
You're the advisor, the consultant.
Yes. And they're off to live their life, and then we have this whole other world that's opening up.
Right.
For so long our life has been so focused on our children, so it's really exciting. I'm really excited for you.
Yeah.
And I think that's really great what you're doing, and it's so exciting, networking, empowering women.
So much fun.
Yes.
It's so much fun, like that little event we were at. That was so much fun.
Exactly. What advice can you give someone who maybe it's in your shoes, maybe they are just making that decision to stay at home? And
they've got kids at home.
Yeah, let's try that. Let's give some advice. If they are just making that decision to stay at home, they're leaving, they're turning away from their career, and they're as scared as heck. I don't know. What kind of advice could you give them?
Well, I would just say, there's a couple of things I have to say about that. So I've seen a lot of homeschool families begin to homeschool, and the husband is not on board. So in my opinion, the husband wife have to be in agreement about what you're doing. Whether you homeschool or not, you should just try to agree.
Yeah, for education. Yeah, that's a big one for our kids to
totally
agree on.
huge. Yeah. And just realize that it's a short period of time. I mean, the time that because I'm at the other end, you know, and I look back and I was there every single second of every single day, doing every single thing with my own kids, and it went by incredibly fast. That blows my mind.
Yeah.
It's like I couldn't have been any more present, and I wasn't present enough.
Yeah. Well, what
Do
a
you know
gift.
what I mean?
What a
Yes.
gift that
Oh,
you gave your kids.
Yeah, totally. It was,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm glad, I'm thankful, I'm grateful that I was able to do that.
Yeah, because it really, truly does go so fast. I remember being in the grocery store with all my littles. I mean, I had a baby here. I had one in the little front of the cart, one in the big end of the cart. I mean, all my kids were. I have 4, and they were all close together. And I mean, I remember the older, you know, grandmas and grandpas would always stop me. Enjoy this. It goes so fast.
They tell you that, babe.
And you're like,
pointless.
what? I hope it goes fast, because I'm like, I am barely surviving, but it goes so fast.
You can't appreciate it until it's one of those things. You can't appreciate it
Till
until
it's
it's over, and then it's kind of sad.
Oh,
But
it is. It's sad, but it's also
bittersweet.
it's bittersweet, because yes, new doors are opening for us, but
And
then
them.
we get to watch them now become. Our goal as we raise our children is for them to be amazing human beings who are gifts to society. So it's really exciting to see their wings and watch them fly, you know, as bittersweet as that is. But thank you so much for being with me. Thank you guys. Until next week. Again, if you have a story or just something to share, you can message us. We would love to chat with you. Wishing you all a wonderful week, and I will see you back here next Sunday.